Good morning. This is Mike Houston with your Wednesday morning weather hazard briefing for southeast Idaho. Looking at satellite imagery this morning, we have a low pressure system here near Pendleton lifting northeast into the Idaho Panhandle. Should reach the northwest portion of Montana here this evening. A little further to the west, we have some additional energy working its way through Portland, and that will remain across Oregon overnight tonight. And we'll see how that impacts the region in the forecast here in a second. But out ahead of this low pressure trough here, we do have precipitation across the region, and that's showing up here in our regional radar loop with isolated to scattered showers extending from Idaho Falls on up into the Island Park area. There are some embedded thunderstorms with this morning. Taking a look at the 10-hour dead fuels across the region, I was a little surprised to see that we are running about 5 to 6% here, and don't have to get too far south where we start to see some more elevated values here, where conditions are looking a little more favorable for fire activity. Checking the fuel status page this morning, we do have several of these zones through this region here that are on autopilot. We'll be checking with the dispatch offices a little later today to see what is actually going on with the fuels in these areas. South Central is updating their page, and looks like we see conditions ripening up here, at least over in the western Magic Valley, and the eastern Magic Valley still has a little ways to go yet before we get there, but warmer temperatures are on the way, and I'll be speaking about that in the forecast coming up. Here we are looking at the forecast charts for today. Here's that low pressure system now lifting up into the Panhandle towards northwest Montana. As that moves off to the north and east, we will see some scattered shower activity here in the Salmon Chalice region. And then you're starting to see some activity bubbling up down here near Jackpot. That's because we have some lingering energy here now across south central Oregon. As we look at the temperatures for this afternoon, we see high temperatures generally running in the 70s throughout the Snake River Plain and 60s here in the Central Mountains, mid-60s to mid-70s here in the Southeast Highlands. Minimum humidities don't look all that critical. We are looking at readings generally in the mid-teens to mid-20s here in the Snake Plains and 20s, maybe some upper teen readings in some of these isolated valleys here, but generally in the 20s and 30s here as we head up to Salmon for the Central Mountains, and 20s and 30s here across the Southeast Highlands. As that low pressure system works up towards northwest Montana today, we could see some wind gusts, and that's what we're looking at here, 25 to 30 miles per hour across the INL and Howe region. And since fuels don't look critical at the moment, we have no highlights out, but certainly maybe a little breezy this afternoon as that system passes to our north. Taking a look at tonight, I was going to say about that low pressure system, what's left of it here in Oregon is helping to spawn a broad area of showers and thunderstorm activity here across the southeast portion of Idaho, generally running from the Snake Plain into the Southeast Highlands, including the Island Park region here overnight tonight. So looking at some nocturnal thunderstorm activity associated with what's left of this low here in Oregon. The guys at the Severe Prediction Center are indicating a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms embedded in that activity overnight tonight. Mainly be in the evening hours, I imagine. So something to watch for there. Skipping to our forecast charts for Thursday, we see that system now really weakening. It's already pushing past Island Park up into Montana. We do have some shower activity, probably be focused mainly back here from Mackay up through Spencer, up along the Montana border tomorrow. We'll see some additional activity here along the Utah border I won't rule out any type of activity here across the remainder of southeast Idaho. We do have some instability here. Obviously, some upper level troughiness to help support maybe some isolated activity. But this seems to be the area of importance up here along the Montana border, and then down here south of the Utah border. As we jump ahead to Friday, you see that system now slowly working off towards the Dakotas. We may have some lingering moisture and instability here along the Montana and Wyoming borders, but for the most part, we should be relatively dry here on Friday. You see the next low pressure system taking shape here off the Seattle coast, and that'll linger through the region over the weekend, probably producing some instability showers and thunderstorms here across the central mountains. But with that system exiting off to the east on Friday, we are looking at highs jumping up into the lower 80s here in the Snake River Plain, and 60s to mid 70s here in the central mountains, maybe some 80-degree readings in some of these valley locations, and certainly solidly in the 70s here in the southeast highlands. Humidity still remaining fairly mild here. I mean, we're looking at 20s in the Snake Plain and 30s here in the central and southeast highlands. Jumping ahead to Wednesday of next week, the models are trying to show a ridge of high pressure building across the Great Basin, which should bring us warmer and drier conditions. In fact, if you look at the 8 to 14-day forecast, for temperatures, we have much above normal temperatures here in the northwest states, and below normal temperatures here across southeast Idaho, maybe some precipitation over here into Oregon. But so warmer and drier is on the way, it looks like, for next. That's all I had here this morning. If you had any comments or questions, you can go ahead and give us a call here at the number on the screen. Thank you.